Alright, this is the first thing we're going to pour today. Is our the pattern for the knobs that we the video that we made making this pattern, this match plate. Anyway, we're going to pour this. We're going to open up our molding bench for the first time. Get ready to use it. I've got the Petrobond sand down there. Alright, here's our match plate. And when we made this match plate, I was planning to put some little dowels up through here as vents. But I think actually when I pour it, I'm going to pour it with this down. This part down, and then I won't need that. We're going to try that and see how it works. So I just put a little masking tape over those holes to maintain that so that the sand won't go down in there. Okay. Put a little parting on here. A lot of people use like talcum powder, and I don't have any of that. I do have this though, that's just really just very fine, really fine sand, and that's what I'm going to use. All right. Now we're using our riddle that we made in an earlier video to shake some sand onto this, get it nice and you don't want big lumps up against your pattern. So this is just making sure that all the sand that's up against the pattern is nice and fine. This pattern's not really all that important as far as picking up detail, but you know, if you were doing something, because all of this, once it's completed, is going to be machined. All the edges are. So the surface quality really isn't all that important. Okay, now we're just going to put some of the sand. I'm just going to kind of break it up with my hands. This Petrobond has not been used very many times because I haven't poured things very many times. Okay, so right now I'm just going to go around and kind of compact this. Okay. Get it flipped over. And let's see. Some parting sand on here. So we don't stick to the... Alright. Old riddle that I had made out of wood. It had 1/4-inch holes. These are 1/8-inch holes, and I think I want to make me one after those 1/4-inch holes again, because I could just shake it and get this Petrobond to go through it. This one I have to rivet through there, so I think that was a little better. What was that? There's a piece of aluminum in there. Okay, let's pull this off. Alright, that looks pretty good. Set it over here. Okay. Now we've got to get this out. I think I'm just going to kind of get a mallet. So I'm just going to ways. That goes loose. Okay. That looks very good. Okay. I'll bring you over here and show you some of the detail. Looks really good. Okay, so here's the deal. I didn't form a sprue in the upper part of that other flask. So I've also swapped over to my Mr. Clean plastic gloves because those others were too thin. But what I want to do is I want to have a sprue that comes right down into this area of our pattern. So really what I should do is on the back of that match plate, I should, you know, here's our match plate. On the back, I need to mark right where this pad is so that when I flip it over like this, I can just set my sprue right there on it and form it up. But I didn't do that, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get our other half over here, and I'm going to try, let's see if it works. I'm going to measure this out where it is off of these back two walls, and then I'm going to use this piece of conduit and see if I can just cut a hole down through the center. So I'm going to measure this. Right to the center is 7, and off the back wall is 7, a little less than 7. Okay, so I'm going to move this half these things are heavy. And when I get this thing together, it's going to be really hard to move. Okay. I think I've got like a little over 100 pounds of Petrobond, and I'm using like all of it. So, okay. I've got it. All right, so A is here. All right, so that's the way I had it. So I'm actually, now I'm forming this off of I measured off the back, but this is going to be the back when I flip it over. So okay. So we're going to go, let's see, it's going to be 7 inches off of this side, which is right there, and 7 inches off of this edge, a little less, is right there. So we want to go, I think, right there. All right. Well, it's deeper than you think, but that worked pretty well. And it should just kind of take a core sample out, I would think. Yep. I'll push that out of there. Okay, yeah, that was pretty darn easy. That might be the way to do that. Okay, now we need to just kind of go around this and make sure none of that, just kind of pat it down so it doesn't drop off in there. Drop down in our pattern. Okay. I compact that edge just a little bit. I don't know about these gloves though, they kind of put an alligator pattern on there, which probably, I don't know that it matters. Okay, brush that off. Okay, we got that ready. And we'll set it aside. Now, I don't know that this is necessary, But I'm going to go ahead and pour up a can to make even another, make the riser even a little bit higher. Just because it's aluminum and we're feeding quite a bit of aluminum, so I just want to make sure. So I'm going to use this can to form that. Since that other one cut out so well, I'm going to try that here because it'd be really hard to put that conduit in here and try to pack around it. So. Alright, now I'll take a piece of conduit and try to cut this out of the center. I got pretty well centered. See? Okay. So then we'll take that out. Our brush those crumbs off. Compact those edges just a little bit. Do the same up here. These also, once you've poured it, I use these risers a lot. I turn them on my lathe, you know, make stuff out of them. So, you know, having a nice long one doesn't bother me at all. Okay, so let me take this. Now we've got, well, let's clean this thing up. Now that we've got the, I think we got a pattern ready, we'll start melting aluminum. And I've got to get this all set up. So I'll come back. Okay, we'll get this set up, and there's the first half. And I've got this board set up on the edge of my porch, and it's kind of sloping down a little bit. I got a little stick back behind it to kind of tip it forward. If I spill some aluminum, I don't want it to fall on my concrete. I've had to do that before and pop the surface off, so hopefully this will cause it to run downhill. Okay, then we're going to gently put the top on here. Oh crap. Well, it slid out of the flask a little bit, but I still think it's okay. Crap. Okay, well, who knows? Who knows what kind of catastrophe that caused? Well, I guess before we pour it, we should open it up and see. Well, the problem with that was I probably need to run me a ridge on the inside of these to help hold that in place. Okay, let's set this thing. Alright, hang on. Okay. I got it back on the molding bench. And I put it up on its side. Hopefully I can get these apart. And we'll see. Okay, well, I don't think ooh, see, this one slid out a little bit too. Huh, okay, well, Alright, we're going to have to redo this, I think. Let me think about it. Okay, so what I did was I set this on here like this, and then I turned it up and thumped it, and it kind of fell back into the flask in here. Now, I'm probably just going to way much trouble to try to salvage this pattern, but now I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And see, that one fell back down in there. Now, I've got to clean up these edges. And these edges, I'm thinking, don't really matter because, ooh. Pushing that back into my mold over there. These edges I don't think really matter because there's not going to be any aluminum over here. I just got to make sure that there's nothing here that's going to keep the pattern too far apart. Okay, so now I think if I'm gonna stand this one back up. Now as I look down it, it's nice and flat across there. I'm just going to brush off any crumbs that I see. This one, I got some crumbs up in here when I was being careless. Okay, I think that's good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide them together on here. I've got my A sides together. Okay, then I'm going to put my board under it, and I'm going to move it like that. Oh boy, that's really heavy. Okay. All right, and then we're going to set this right here. That's going to be our pour. All right, let's get the furnace fired up. It's been about 15 minutes, and the guys that actually seem to know what they're doing with this, they say, well, it's been about 15 minutes, and then they break open the flask. So I'm gonna move it around here, and we're gonna pull this out and look at it. But I wanted you to see, look at how much that, I'll kind of get you to the side so you can kind of see how much that is shrunk, because it was, you know, completely full to the top and overflowing a little bit, but it's shrunk down in there, and that's why I did such a tall riser. Still don't know that I needed it, but anyway, we'll see when we bust it out. Oh, gee whiz! Oh man, this thing is really heavy. Okay. Well, wait a minute. I don't know how much it weighs, but it's got to be like 80 pounds or something. It's like picking up a sack of concrete. Whew! That was toasty warm. Okay. That is one thing about Petrobond. It makes a lot of smoke. So much for being a non-smoker. Okay, let's push these apart. Alright, let's shove this back. I shut my door so the smoke alarm didn't go off. Okay. Man. Okay. Looks like well, you probably can't see anything because all the it's like a successful pour. No, I don't see I don't see any shrink in these, so doing the risers, you know, like that worked. I still don't know if it was actually necessary, but okay, let me get this cleaned up. Okay, so that's it cleaned up, and well, it's not that great cleaned up, but you know, we started out with a pattern and we had some trouble because I didn't use those backer boards, and but we kind of kept working with it and had a really good pour.